Hey, welcome back to the Crash Space. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today we have a Protection Colossus deck, and we're facing off against Expert Mansion Attack. If you're familiar with the Mutant Genesis box, this is a very flavorful, this is a very thematic matchup. And speaking of the Mutant Genesis box, Colossus was my first ever mutant hero I played when I got into this game. It's just about the time the Mutant Genesis came out. And to date, Colossus is easily one of my favorite mutants, just been the most fun. I like tough statuses, I like being that sort of tanky character and playing protection. And since Colossus has come out, we've got so many fantastic protection cards that really help out this sort of deck. So today we're going to be stacking those tough status cards and going toe-to-toe with whatever Brotherhood they can throw at us. And with that, let's dive right in. Notably, there are timestamps in the description below, so if you want to jump just straight to gameplay, please don't hesitate to do that. And if you like content like this, if you just want to take a second to leave a like on the video, it really does help the channel grow. With that, let's talk quickly about what this deck is. This is Colossus. 1-2-2 stat line. Again, that 1 thwart, not the best when you're playing solo, as much as we can get the stat line up to 2 thwart, 3 attack, and 2 defense once you play a bunch of your upgrades. Big thing about Colossus, you can take 2 tough status cards. It's kind of like steady in that way, and if you get attacked, you only remove 1 tough status card, as much as I believe if you're attacked by piercing, you do have to remove both of them. Now, we just played some War Machine on the channel, and we talked about how Upgrade to Chassis is like one of my favorite cards, because when we jump to hero mode, we go get a toughness, and that's just the baked in text on Colossus. So we want to be jumping up and down, and this deck can do it a heck of a lot. We've seen some really fantastic protection cards that allow us, especially in solo, to go to alter ego side a bit more often, so we can jump up and we can jump down and keep getting those free toughnesses coming back. Now, very importantly, Colossus in hero mode only has 4 hand size. In alter ego, we have the standard 6, but 4 hand size is a downside. But luckily, as soon as we set up our upgrades, and we're hoping to do that as soon as possible, we get extra hand size whenever we remove tough status and we draw more cards and we have some resource generators. So it starts bad, but eventually it becomes totally reasonable and you'll be drawing a lot of cards every turn with your toughnesses and some of the other stuff in the deck. Alter ego, really quickly, our ability here allows us to have a bit of recursion, which if you know me, I like jumping down. I like controlling what's in our deck to make sure we're ready for the next couple turns. So we want to hop up and down a fair bit. And we also have the setup that adds a card to our hand, which is a really nice setup card. Now, speaking of our upgrades, on our setup cards, we have 4 really important upgrades in the kit. These are super core to Colossus. Firstly, Iron Will. Not only does this give us the 2nd thwart, which is really important when you're playing solo, but it says after a tough status card is discarded from Colossus, draw a card. This means when the villain attacks you, you take the toughness off, you're now at a 5 hand size hero, which is where you want to be. But this also doesn't exhaust. This means you can fire this as much as you want on a given turn, as long as you have the tough status cards to pay for it. A bunch of our cards you'll see, especially our events, they have kickers when you remove tough status cards, though those discard tough status cards. So most of our events actually draw us a card when we play them, as long as we have the tough status cards. So the economy is interesting because you want your tough status cards to ignore the villain, but they're also good for you, but they also draw cards, but you also want to keep them for your events. It's a really interesting puzzle. Another big part of that puzzle is Titanium Muscles, which gives us +1 attack to 3 attack, which is really quite good. And we can exhaust this to generate physical resources for every tough status card. So again, there's some tension here because you want to spend the tough status cards to draw cards, but if you don't use them, you can use them to install cards, to play cards. So you generally want to do this before that one, but you have a lot of flexibility. We have 2 copies of Organic Steel, and we start with this in our opening hand. After we mulligan, setup is the last step, so we can easily have 7 cards in hand. This comes in with 2 counters, and we can choose, if we want to, after we lose a tough status, to replace it with a tough status and take a counter off of this. This is in our opening hand. We'll get it down for sure because, again, every tough status card is a resource. It's a card draw, and it means we can largely ignore the villain as long as the villain doesn't have piercing or attacks us too much. Very good cards. So much of our ability is about setting up as soon as possible, so these upgrades are of the most importance. It's a total difference between having Iron Will on the table and not, so we're going to be mulliganing for that pretty aggressively. Now, next up, we have a bunch of events. These are mostly attack events that give you kickers. If you remove toughness, I think actually some of them need to remove toughness. So Made of Rage says that your basic attack, when you remove a toughness, you get +6 attack, which can be up to 9 attack, and you gain overkill. And again, if you discard a toughness when you play this, you get to draw a card if you're set up. We have 3 copies of Steel Fist. This is also similar. This is 2 for 5, but if you discard a toughness, which hopefully draws you a card, you also can stun and confuse the enemy you're attacking. I just want to shout out that the wording on this card, the templating is technically errated. You see in the top right corner, it basically just changes the entire text of the attack to not be before the cost arrow. The way that Steel Fist was worded, in theory, you'd have to pay that cost, or actually not even pay the cost, deal the damage, and then it would remove a stun. Because the way stuns work in this game is you pay the cost and then get no effect, but the damage was part of the cost, which was really strange. So now this works like every other event in the game. We have some utility cards here. We have Bulletproof Protector, also very cool. This functionally gets you +1 toughness as long as you have a toughness, or you can ready yourself. And this discards toughness as a cost, so you actually do draw a card if you're set up. We have Piotr Studio, which is our alter ego card that can discard cards until we find a Colossus card, which is not bad. It does just give you a card draw on your turn, so that's good. But if you know what's in your deck and you shuffle specific cards back, you can make this a bit more consistent. Now, this is what the deck is about, and this was one of my favorite cards in Colossus. It was just so fun. Armor Up is a card that says, I'm just going to be an alter ego, which is such a tricky thing sometimes when you're playing solo, because again, some of the limits on the main schemes are low, and if the villain is scheming, who knows what's going to happen. Armor Up says, I'm going to go down to alter ego, I'm going to draw 6 cards, then I'm going to immediately jump up, get a toughness from my hero ability, and just not care. It's just nice. It's safety. Sometimes you do take risks and jump down to alter ego, hoping you're going to draw into one of these copies that you just shuffled back with your alter ego ability. And when that works out, it feels so great. And you're just always constantly in the fight. But speaking of being in the fight, we've got this card somewhat recently in the Shield Wave, and it's just exactly what we want. This requires a physical to put down, which ideally we can always generate with our titanium muscles. And this just says when the villain would scheme, don't, they attack you instead. And this is an interrupt that's not a hero interrupt, so we can jump down to alter ego, get that extra hand size, get that recursion, jump back up, get the toughness. It's just such a great and smooth engine. Such an important card now that we have 4 ways to jump down to alter ego and ignore the villain in a lot of ways. Now, let's not ignore the villain totally. Let's actually make them attack us. And Taunt is just such a great card in Colossus. This is one of my favorite protection cards. There's certain heroes that play this more easily than others, and Colossus is probably on the best end of that. It says the villain attacks you, you can't block with any allies, which is not a problem, and then we just draw 3 cards. We have toughness. We have extra toughness. So functionally, if we have an extra toughness and we have our setup where Iron Will's on the table, so when we discard a toughness, we draw a card, this is a 1 for 4. You pay 1, you draw 4 cards. That's so dang good. A lot of times you'll have extra toughnesses. If you have your organic steel on the table, you want to use those counters to get them back into the deck when you flip down so you can shuffle it back in. Just trading 1 card, 1 resource for 4 cards feels fantastic, and you're not worried about any attack in the game, barring piercing and I guess things like Magneto that get counters when the villain attacks. But Taunt is just so fun and so easily makes up for the fact that you start with 4 hand size because you do draw 4 cards on most board states. We're also trying 2 copies of Anticipated Attack, and I'll be honest, I'm not super positive about this one. This you can only play if there's a side scheme in the victory display. We're playing 2 side schemes, so we might not get there super consistently, but it just says when an enemy initiates an attack, give yourself a tough status card, which of course we appreciate because that draws a card, and that's just exactly what our shtick is. I don't know if this is necessary, I'll be honest. There's a chance that in the slot you can just play Hard Knocks, which works out really well, especially if you're playing against a lot of mid-sized minions. But again, with the art and the theme, this seems like the deck that we should try it in, and we'll see how clumsy this is. My guess is we have enough toughness that we might not need the extra toughness, as perfect as this card kind of looks. Now, in terms of the side schemes, we're playing Superpower Training because our deck is so dependent on getting our upgrades down. 1 thwart might make this a bit tricky in the early game, but we need to clear this to make sure we have our important pieces. We're also playing Established Perimeter, which is only 2 threat, and that gives us a toughness, which is something we want. It's relatively easy to play, costing 1, and we like that toughness. It is a bit of our economy. Now, the weird thing about playing Protection Colossus is most protection decks want to go out of their way to block, and so much of the protection cards give you value from blocking. They say when you defend and don't take damage, or when you defend, do retaliate. All the sort of things are not really applying to us because we are trying never to defend. We have no reason to use our 2 defense stat when, again, we have toughness, and toughness will just deny all that damage, which means there's actually a huge subsection of the protection cards we cannot participate in. Electrostatic Armor shows up somewhat consistently on a fair few decks, and it just says when you're defending, you're considered to have retaliate. And again, we're not defending. So that brings us to Dauntless, which gives us retaliate, which doesn't care if we're defending or not, as long as we're at full health. So 14 or more health is where we have to be. We have a bit of healing in this deck, and I'm hoping that we can keep our health healthy as long as we're, using our toughness, maybe blocking with allies if we're in a panic. But this is just a way to give a bit of damage to our protection deck. So retaliate 1 will be attacked a fair bit more with Taunt as well, so it lines up well. All right, next we have our allies. We're playing 5 allies. We're playing Shadowcat. This is our unique ally from the cover art of the box. This is our best thwarter. She can be consistent, and we have some healing to keep her around indefinitely. So we'll just have 2 thwart a turn. She ignores a whole bunch of bad symbols. We also have Polaris, which I love. Polaris can give you tough because you're an X-Men, and that works out really well for a bunch of the things we're doing. We're on expert, so we're playing some of these staples. Nick Fury, again, if we draw Taunt, we draw a lot of cards. It's always nice to dump extra cards into Nick Fury to draw deeper and have some choices. We're playing Prof X because we like to confuse and we don't thwart that well. We can ready ourselves, and that can be valuable. Then I chose to play Marrow, who I actually like Marrow a fair bit. When Marrow enters play, we get to deal 2 damage, and then Marrow can attack twice, and that just adds a bit of cheap damage to the deck. Now, we actually do have a fair bit of damage in the deck once we're set up, so you can feel free to slot this out for maybe an ally that does more thwarting. I like Gambit. Gambit's pretty flexible. You could do Triage for a bit of healing, so you have a couple options there, but I added a bit more damage, so we can just send it a bit harder. Those are all allies. We have some final utility pieces. We have the 14 health package, which is Limitless Stamina and Unshakable. We have 14 health, which means we can play this card, and it's a superpower, and we have ways to make superpowers cheaper. This just readies your hero. And once we're set up with our upgrades, we'll have 3 attack, 2 thwart, and that's perfect. We're not going to be defending a lot, so we'll be ready at the beginning of the hero phase, ideally. So that means we can attack twice for 6 once we're set up. Limitless Stamina is just so easy to play. We're playing one copy of Unshakable. You can change this based off of your matchup. I don't think it's going to be that good in this matchup. This just gives us steady because we have that 14 or more health, which means we're not that easily pinned down by stuns and confuses, which has some value, more in other scenarios, less in this one. So we can do whatever you want really with the slot. Sorry, these are actually our final utility cards. So we're playing X-Mansion and Moira. We're not playing any of the synergy pieces with X-Mansion. You can definitely play some Mutant Education if you want to get even more recursion. This just allows us to heal ourselves slightly to make sure we're at the 14 when we're jumping down, and hopefully we're jumping down consistently, or just keep our allies around. And our allies are going to do a lot of the thwarting, so we should keep them healthy. We're also playing Moira, and I'll be honest, Moira probably is not worth it in solo. Moira is so much better in multiplayer because there's more people that can use her ability when they're jumping up and down. We're trying to be an alter ego a lot, so Moira should draw a lot of cards when we hop up, get our toughness, draw a card, so it feels nice. But usually she doesn't get played in the first cycle because she's not super necessary. And then by the time you've gone through the deck a couple times, I don't know if she's that great. So better in multiplayer, but we're going to give her a shot because she's doing what we're doing, which is hopping up and down a lot. Then we just have resources, X-Jet and Deft Focus and Energy Genius Strength. X-Jet because we can and it's great, and Deft Focus is perfect because we have a whole bunch of superpowers in our heroes kit. On top of that, the Limitless Stamina is also a superpower that we can play for free. And that's the deck. A lot of ways to take toughness, a lot of ways to generate value from toughness, a lot of ways to ready ourselves, some good allies, and we're going to hopefully take no damage this entire scenario. We're worried about piercing. And then once we're set up with some really good stats, we're going to be attacking constantly, buffing ourselves with our events, and then just having good stats, readying ourselves going over and over again. Colossus is so much fun. I really enjoy these sort of engine decks that have resources that you're not used to being resources, like toughness as a resource that you need to generate, you need to spend, that draws you cards. It's just the coolest thing. I'm a big fan of Colossus design, and the new cards have been a huge help. Now, we do have the X-Mansion in the deck, and we are going to be defending it because we are playing against the Mansion Attack, which is one of these sort of modular setups. So we don't know which villains. We don't also know what main schemes we're going to deal with. So let's dive into that setup. Now, the first main scheme here is the Brotherhood Strikes. The contents are the 4 Brotherhood villains. We're going to be playing on the B side because we're playing on Expert. We're playing nearly stock. This is Mansion Attack. It's mostly treacheries and then a couple side schemes. And then we have to play with the Brotherhood because that comes with the minions that also show up in ally form, and then a bunch of ways to actually buff them themselves. Now, this is going to show Mystique. We're actually not playing with Mystique. I did a small mulligan there at the last minute, and while Mystique is actually really tough and can be quite difficult to deal with, I decided to try out Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike came, and one of the encounter sets, I think probably Wolverine's, is in the back of the pack. And Deathstrike specifically can get piercing and give piercing to the villain in a couple different ways off of, I think, mostly attachments. And we really don't like piercing, so that's going to add an additional challenge, as much as Mystique is also quite difficult to deal with. Now, the setup says to put the school environment into play, which has some ongoing rules text to remind you how certain interactions work. Then we have to shuffle all copies of the main scheme's 2A together, and then stack them underneath this scheme. So these all have the same front, so we can't tell them apart, but they're going to be the parts of the mansion that we're defending, which give ongoing traits and benefits to both us, but also the villain and all the minions. So we'll give this a quick shuffle. No idea what's going on top. We're not going to see all of them because we will lose if we try and see all of them. So ideally, we protect the first one. If not, we can protect the second one. But I think as soon as we lose 2, the game is over. Now we have to shuffle the villains together without looking at them. And then the order they're going to be is the order we're going to have to fight them. We're going to have to defeat 3 of them. So I just need to look at the ceiling and shuffle this a fair bit. I don't know if there's one villain I want more than the others, but the order here will be the order we get. So I'm going to stop after a cut. We're fighting against Toad and no idea what's behind Toad. All right, with that, we can flip this over, and this just goes out of play really quickly. It says, the Xavier Institute is under attack by the Brotherhood of Mutants. When revealed, deal each player a face-down encounter card, and then advance to the next card in the main scheme deck, adding this card to the victory display. So really quickly, I'll shuffle this deck. We shuffled before, and we'll start with 1 encounter card on round 1, and then we'll figure out what part of the mansion we're defending. Right, so cut. First card, that'll be ours. Put these aside. And then this goes into the victory display, which matters because Save the School counts how many main schemes are in the victory display. So it counts that card, which is kind of easy to miss. Now we're going to go to a random main scheme 2A. On the front, they all have the same text, attack on Xavier's. It says, when revealed, flip this card. The Brotherhood strike in unison, focusing their attack. When revealed, flip this card. And we get the Courtyard. I think that's probably okay. The Courtyard, each character gets +1 attack. That's not only us and our allies, but it's the minions and, of course, the villain. That might not be the worst thing for us because, of course, if Toad attacks for 3, we still have toughness, so we don't mind. But we're going to get this benefit as well as our allies are going to, and the minions as well. So we have to watch out. Now, when this is completed, you add this scheme to the victory display and advance to the next card, which is another card very similar to this. And if there are 3 main schemes in the victory display, the players lose the game. Currently, there's already 1. So we'll be tracking that here on the Save the School, which I'll tell you what that text is. So we can lose this one, we'll be at 2, but once we lose the next one, we're at 3, and then the game is over because they all have the same fail state text. Let's look at Toad really quickly. This is Toad B, going to come in with 16 health. Toad has toughness and victory 2 and forced response. After Toad attacks and damages a character you control, discard a card randomly from your hand. That's not that bad tax. I think all the villains in the set have the same sort of structure where it's, oh, if they attack and damage you, then they do something bad, if I'm not mistaken. So as long as we have the toughness, we're not going to be worried. We're going to stand right in the way of Toad. Save the school. This is the environment. It says forced response. After the villain is defeated, if there are X villains in the victory display, the players win the game. On our difficulty, X is 3. So we have to defeat 3 villains. So we're going to see all but one of the villains. Otherwise, deal each player an encounter card and reveal the next villain. And if a minion with the same title as the new villain is engaged with the player, discard that minion and the villain activates against that player. I think that's just an ongoing rule across this whole scenario. So if a Toad engages us, we discard Toad and the Toad villain attacks us. And there is one minion for all of the villains in the Brotherhood stack there. So there's just a bigger chance that we'll get a double activation. I think that's mostly it. At that point, we're fully set up. Toad only has 14 health, so we have to defeat 3 of these villains, but they don't have that much health. I think Toad might be the smallest. Maybe Pyro's also small. And then like Avalanche is big and Blob might be the biggest. So we'll see who's up next. And again, this does start with 1 threat. I forgot about that. And once we get to 7, we advance. So it doesn't even have the biggest threshold. Toad also schemes for 3, which is a lot. So we have to make sure things don't get out of hand. All right, with that, we'll give this a cut. We should be able to start. Again, we start in Alter Ego and we do have a setup text. Setup will fire as the final part on our turn after we mulligan. So we have 2 copies of our Organic Steel. One of them will be added to our hand after we do our mulligan. So the worst case scenario is if we mulligan into both of them, because then we functionally lose a hand size. But here we're definitely looking for our upgrades. Iron Will, Titanium Muscles, to be able to set up, to get those toughnesses, to make sure that we're not taking damage. And we definitely want to offset that 4 hand size. So here we go. Ready for a fight. Interesting card, because in theory, we can actually just stay in Alter Ego for a turn and not have to have 4 hand size. And then when the villain attacks us, we can just jump up immediately. So this is in the maybe category. We'll see what else we get alongside it. Made of Rage, probably not going to keep this at all. It does give us more damage as much as Toad starts with a toughness, so that's kind of a waste. This only modifies our basic attack, so probably not worth keeping at this point. Next up, Iron Will, that's perfect. Can't ask for better. One of our most important cards, +1 thwart, plus a card draw engine. This is the definite keep camp. Ideally, we find a double to make it cheaper. Organic Steel. Okay, so this is a really good card because it gives us 2 toughness over the next couple turns. And with Iron Will, that's 2 more card draw. Now, unfortunately, our Alter Ego ability says search your deck, not your discard pile. So we can discard this and hope that we don't draw the second copy. If we do just lose a resource on this turn, a card in hand, which is not the best, but I don't know if we'll hold on to that. Limitless Stamina. Not the card we really need on turn 1. We don't have that much to do that already is that important. So we probably won't keep this and see a bit deeper. And our 6th card is Strength, which is perfect. So we're definitely not keeping these 2. Ready for a fight. I think we actually want to jump up because we'll have our Iron Will, which wants us to lose toughness to draw cards. So I don't think we're going to keep this. And I don't think we're going to keep Organic Steel. If we draw our next Organic Steel, we do technically lose a card in our hand, but I think we can take the risk. It's only 1 in like 34 more cards, so we'll roll a die. Armor Up. Okay, another reason we can consider staying down in Alter Ego on turn 1, but that's actually a reasonable consideration there because we will still fire our Iron Will as much as we'll waste our basic activation, which on this turn probably takes the toughness off or thwarts for 1. That's okay. Next up, we have Bulletproof Protector. Okay, that's actually interesting. That gives us a reason to jump up because as long as we play our Iron Will, we can discard a toughness to get a second toughness, and then we can actually draw cards. This is functionally a cantrip. It replaces itself. Another Limitless Stamina, and finally, a Steel Fist, which, we might actually play that as well. We have some good options here. And now that we didn't draw our last copy of it, with our Alter Ego, we can search our deck for our Organic Steel. We have 1 more in the list. Cool, got it. Just shuffle this back up, and we should be off the start. We're going to have some interesting decisions as soon as turn 1. Okay, so what do we have here? We have 7 cards, which is obviously a great start. Armor Up only matters if we stay in Alter Ego, which we probably won't. And this will definitely play Iron Will here, which can draw cards. So we want to plan our turn first there. Iron Will gives us +1 thwart, which is obviously nice. But the big thing is when we discard a toughness, we draw a card. And so if we play Bulletproof, we get a second toughness, and then we draw another card to replace it, which just sees us deeper into the deck, which is great. Steel Fist is interesting if we want to play this on this turn because the Stun and the Confuse is good. As long as we have cards that can use our toughness to give us benefit, Iron Will still be firing consistently. So if we stun Toad and Toad is not attacking us, we're not too upset because we'll figure out our own ways to get rid of our toughness. So if we jump up and we play this, we'll have another card. I kind of want to play Steel Fist this turn because again, Steel Fist, if it discards a toughness, we'll draw a card. And so this technically only costs 1, which is a really nice start if you want to look at it like that. Organic Steel is going to be the expensive one. That's the hard one. This is probably the last thing we're going to play on our turn is my guess, because we're going to draw a card with the Bulletproof and we're going to draw a card with Steel Fist. So these will play Steel Fist. Steel Fist will draw a card. Bulletproof will draw a card. And hopefully those 2 cards will play Organic Steel because we'll have 2 toughness. Sometimes the order actually matters, but I don't think we have to like tough max on this turn because we're going to stun and confuse Toad. So we'll start here. We'll just use a Strength to play Iron Will. Man, Colossus is so fun. So again, this you don't have to exhaust. This just always fires, and it gives us +1 thwart, which we really appreciate with only 1 thwart stat. So we're at 2 thwart, 3 attack, and that's only going to go up. Okay, I think we're just going to jump up now. So we'll jump up to hero mode, and our ability says, it says Steel Skin, after you change this form, give a tough status card. Of course, we can have 2 of those. Now here, I'm just going to play Bulletproof Protector. This says discard a tough status card, so we'll discard one. And of course, Iron Will triggers here, which says when you discard a tough status card, draw a card. So draw a card, we draw Taunt, which we could even play this turn to draw more cards, which is kind of wild. And then the rest of Bulletproof fires. It says that we can either ready our hero, which we're not going to do, or give your hero 2 tough status cards, which now we have a lot of options. We're doubly tough. Okay, this Taunt's actually massive because we could just play it right now, and then technically we'll draw 4 cards, which is exactly what we want. We don't have Retaliate, so it's going to be a bit of work to take this tough off. But again, Taunt just draws 4 cards because we'll lose a toughness, draw a card, and then we'll draw 3 more. So I think that's what we'll probably do here to get more options. This is just an incredible setup. So we'll play Taunt. It says the villain attacks you. So Toad is going to attack. Toad is attacking for 3 in a card. 4, 5, 6 damage under siege, massive boost. But we're going to take no damage. We're going to lose a tough instead. And when we lose a tough, we draw a card with Iron Will. We draw Established Perimeter. Now, Toad's text says after Toad attacks and damages, we didn't take any damage, so that's fine. And then the rest of Taunt fires, which says draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we still have a lot of cards here. Great. What do we want to set up here? X-Jet's always really nice to get down as soon as possible because it is a resource generator. Ready for fight, we don't really need. Limitless Stamina is okay because we can take the toughness off. I think we want to attack to take the toughness off, and then we'll probably play Steel Fist, which means before we play Steel Fist, we want to play our Organic Steel, just so that we don't end in a situation where we have no toughness on us. Because if we want to play Steel Fist for the stun and confuse, we have to get this down first. So can we play everything? Like if we do 1, 2, 3 for X-Jet, no. X-Jet plus Limitless plays Organic. No, so we can't play everything. So I think we won't play the X-Jet this turn. Because I want to play Organic Steel, then I want to play Steel Fist for the stun and confuse and the 5 damage. I want to attack first. So this is 2 cards. This is 2 cards, we get 1 back, so we can play a 1 coster. So I think I'll hold on to the Dauntless to get a bit of retaliate damage. Okay, so if that's the case, we'll pitch 2 right here for Organic Steel. Comes in with 2 counters. This one does exhaust. So this is once per turn functionally. After you lose a toughness, you can add another toughness, which is great. Now I'm going to just attack for 3. We don't have piercing or anything. I'll just take the toughness off. And then we will play Limitless and X-Jet for Steel Fist. It's a shame we can't get the X-Jet down. If we drew a double, I think we'd be able to. So this says, and his text is slightly different, but functionally works the same as long as you're not confused. Deal 5 damage to an enemy. So Toad is just going to take 5 off the bat, down to, what, 9? Discard a tough status card from your hero, stun and confuse the enemy. So we'll discard a toughness, and we'll stun and confuse Toad. So we literally can do whatever we want at this point. Now, a bunch of triggers happen here. Firstly, Iron Will kicks in. Iron Will says after a tough status card is discarded, draw a card. We got Marrow, that's fine. And then Organic Steel can kick in here, which says, after a tough stats card is discarded from Colossus, exhaust this, remove a counter, and give ourselves the toughness. So we still have the toughness for next turn. And then I think here, we're just going to play the Dauntless, which as long as we're at full health or higher than full health, we have no way to get higher than full health. But as long as we're at full health, we get Retaliate 1. So just grab a little badge for that so we remember when that was turn 1. Pretty good. We have the toughness, so if we do get attacked, we'll deal with it. We have 1 extra encounter card. That's going to be a problem, but already we've done a fair bit of damage, and we are really well set up. We'll pass. Now, this is the bad part, is we're only going to draw up to 4 cards, so hopefully we draw another Taunt sooner than later, so we can draw 4 more. But 4 cards is Nick Fury. Oh, that sucks, because we're not going to be able to play Nick Fury unless we get a double. Made of Rage. This can cantrip because it discards a toughness. We have the Unshakable for the steady, which we might not need. And then we have Steel Fist, which also can draw a card if we need more stuns or confuses, which I don't think we do. So hopefully we actually get attacked so we can draw a card with Iron Will to play Nick. I'm not sure what to do about that. That is slightly awkward. Nick in a 4-size hand is not great. So maybe the X-Jet was a priority. All right. The Courtyard gets 1 threat per player. So it's a 2 of 7, and Toad would attack us, but is stunned. So that kind of eats a bit of our value engine, but still not complaining. And we draw another encounter card. So we're going to be getting 2 encounter cards. First card is Pyro. Okay, this is perfect. I think it's a minion coming in with 4 health. We only have 3 attack here. It says force responds after Pyro attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck, take 1 indirect damage for each print resources. And on his own, he attacks for 0. Notably, he actually attacks for 1 because the Courtyard gives +1 attack to everybody. So is attacking for 1 plus indirect. Immovable. It says when revealed, Blob activates. If not, search the encounter deck and discard power for Blob. Uh-oh. So Blob's in play. Blob, I think, is one of the bigger ones, has a fair bit of health, probably also guard. I don't think he schemes for a lot. Pyro schemes for a bit more, but this is Blob. So we're gonna have to shuffle. Blob comes in with 6 health. Our hand has a fair bit of damage, a bit of overkill too. And after Blob attacks and damages the character, stun that character. I think that's the exact same text as Blob if Blob shows up as a villain. All right, that's us. Fortunately, Nick can't play it. Pyro 4 health, Blob 6 health. We have 2 attacks in our hand. One of them requires a toughness, one of them doesn't exactly. We are 1 card short. If we actually play one of these cards that discards a toughness and then we draw a double, we can play Nick and then we'll have a fantastic turn. I think we have 2 doubles left in our deck at this point. Okay, so our 2 cards we're considering here are Made of Rage and Steel Fist. Made of Rage is probably the one we're going to play. Says when we make a basic attack, we get +6 with overkill, so we can just one-shot Blob, which seems nice. Blob's attacking for 3, that's okay. Toad will attack us this turn, and we will have a toughness because we'll bring it back with Organic Steel. So that's okay. Pyro is the one that's going to hurt us, maybe. There's actually a chance that we can knock out Pyro first and just let Blob scheme for 1 because Toad is confused, and that means we can jump up and down a bit better, so that's okay. Now, the other option we have is Steel Fist, and we might be able to play both of them. This just says deal 5 damage to an enemy, and if we don't have a toughness to discard, we won't stun or confuse, which is totally fine because we probably won't be stunning or confusing if we just defeat. So I think we just defeat both minions and hop down. I think that's good enough. So we'll start here. We'll be doing the more overkill damage by attacking. Oh no, I guess we have to attack Blob because Made of Rage does 9 damage and Steel Fist on its own beats Pyro. So we're going to do a basic attack against Blob and we'll play Made of Rage. This says when you make a basic attack, discard a tough status. When we discard a tough status, we draw a card with Iron Will. And instead of discarding it, we could use Organic Steel here if we wanted to. This replaces the tough status. I'm not 100% sure if we want to, because the counter when we hop down is not super useful. So we actually might keep this for another turn, especially a turn when we draw a taunt. So I'm not going to use Organic Steel. Now that means our attack is +6, so we're doing 9 damage with overkill. So 6 to Blob and then 3 to Toad, defeating Blob. We have a Prof X, which we don't really need. We can hold on to Nick Fury for next turn if we want to. I don't think the Unshakable is that good. So I think that's probably the play. We'll play 2 here for Steel Fist. Actually, in theory, if we kept the toughness with Organic Steel, we could discard to draw, but I don't think we need to. And so we'll just deal 5 damage to an enemy, knocking out Pyro. Okay, we can hold on to Nick. Next turn, we'll have 6 cards. We'll hop down. And in Alter Ego, we get our ability that shuffles a Colossus card of our choice into our deck. So we have a lot of damage cards with Steel Fist and Made of Rage. We also have 1 copy of Armor Up, which we could decide to play, but with the Confused, we don't really want to. So Bulletproof Protector, Organic Steel. I think I'm going to go for the Organic Steel. There's a chance adding more damage to our deck is fine, but with Organic Steel at 1 less token, I think we're okay just getting more toughness back into our deck. I really need more reps with Colossus. I haven't played Colossus in a long time. This is my first game in a while after building this deck. And so understanding what you need to put back based off of the villain, based off of how your economy structure works, there's a lot of skill in that. So right now I'm just going for the safe option, but there's a chance just getting more damage because we're 1 basic attack that's buffed to knock out Toad here. We also could decide not shuffling anything back because we really want to find our titanium muscles to boost our attack stat, especially with the ready and the extra damage from the courtyard. That can add up a lot. So there's a chance that you shuffle nothing in just so your deck is a bit more consistent. We'll just pass. Here we'll drop to 6. Nick Fury, I'm actually thinking might not be the best for the deck. It's really easy to autoplay Nick, but we don't want to be blocking with Nick a lot because we want to be blocking with our toughness. So it preserves our toughness for other benefits like taunt and a bunch of our attacks. I'll hold on to Nick to see how it is, but there's a chance that Nick's not right for the deck. Limitless Stamina, that readies, which is nice. Genius to play Easy Nick. We have the Energy to play Super Easy Nick. We have the Bulletproof Protector, so that's another extra toughness, which is the card draw. And then finally, we have the Anticipated Attack, which I'm pretty sure shouldn't be in the deck. It's a shame because it seems like it should be, but I'm not convinced that's the case. All right, this goes to 3, so hopefully we'll send Nick for that. And Toad would scheme, but is confused. We draw 1 card. If it is an advance, we could be in a bad spot. But instead, it's the Avalanche. We've drawn nearly all the minions here. Avalanche, 5 health. After Avalanche attacks you, exhaust a character you control. This one doesn't care if they damage you. That's neat. And it's back to us. So here, I think we just play Nick. I don't know what else we're looking for here. Nick would be good. We have a limitless stamina, so this means we can attack twice. Ideally, we find our depth focus to play this. So we can attack for 3, let alone we might draw into something better with Nick. So we'll pitch 4 for Nick. And we'll use Nick's text just to draw 3 cards. We'll see deeper into our deck, get some more options. It's going to last for a single turn, so we could block Toad with Nick if we wanted to. Otherwise, we'll just use a toughness, and we'll draw 3 here. First is a taunt. We're going to play that. Usually do play that. Second is the X-Mansion. Third is another taunt. Okay. X-Mansion we don't really need. Everyone's at full health, and Nick doesn't stay for more than 1 turn, so that's not really super useful. So we have nothing else we can play here. In Alter Ego that we care about, I don't think we're going to play the X-Mansion. Maybe we have so many extra cards in our hand we can get rid of it. I think we might as well just see more cards before we commit to it because we're definitely not going to use it. So we'll hop up. Our hero ability, Steel Skin, we get a toughness. Again, when we discard these cards, it's a bit better for us. We're going to have to do some thwarting for sure. We don't want to let this go a bit higher than that. We want to keep it down to round 2, just so if we draw in advance, Toad does scheme for 3. If this clears, we don't lose. The next one we do lose. And I think we're just going to start here with a Bulletproof Protector. So we're going to discard a toughness. So we'll discard this toughness, which draws a card with Iron Will. We got a superpower training. There's one more upgrade in our deck, but at that point, we don't really need it. We always sometimes want to keep a side scheme on the table. So if we draw a master plan, which is part of the expert set, it just deals with a player side scheme and not a real side scheme. Then we're going to get 2 toughness. We're not going to use organic steel. So we drew a card there. I think we just send the taunt here. So we're going to do anticipated attack into taunt. That easy. We probably will find our +1 attack card here. So the villain attacks you. So Toad is attacking for 3 and a card and a boost. We can't block with Nick, so we'll just take it. With toughness, it's fine. There's an advance gone. So Toad is doing 3 damage, and Toad's text doesn't matter because we didn't take any damage. We lose a toughness, which means we can fire Iron Will because we discarded a toughness. We drew the steel, a second steel. And now the question is whether we want to use organic steel to replace that toughness and give us 2 toughness. I think because we haven't drawn, we haven't done taunt yet. I guess we have to decide this first, is my guess. But I think we want the second one because if we draw into our titanium muscles, that card scales off the amount of toughness we'll have. So we'll use organic steel, we'll replace it this turn, and then we'll add a second toughness to us. Now we'll do the rest of the taunt and we'll draw 3 cards. So we are absolutely flying. So we get Polaris, the deft focus, and anticipate attack. Okay, so we missed it. Do we just taunt again? I think there's a big chance we just taunt again here. Like, this is not limit once per turn. This card is just buck wild. I feel like I'm playing something wrong of how absurd this thing is. Again, Iron Will does not exhaust. It's not first time. It's every time. So we're just going to do it again. Anticipate attack for taunt. Actually, first, very importantly, first, we're going to do Polaris and X-Mansion for the organic steel, just so we can replace that toughness, which not the most important, but if we draw into our upgrade, that helps a bit. And we're going to draw 4 of these 6 cards left in our deck. So taunt keeps happening. Not limit once per turn. The villain attacks us. Toad attacks for 3 and a card. We're not going to block. Boost card on Hopping Mad. Boost says the villain is Toad. Give him additional boost card. Okay. So attacking for 4, 5, 6, 7. Lost another side scheme. Happy about that. We take no damage. We lose a toughness. You know how this works. We draw 1 with Iron Will. It's Shadowcat. Then we're going to replace that toughness with organic steel. And then we'll draw 3 more with taunt. 1, 2, 3. We found our titanium muscles. We have so many cards in our hand. We're just still ripe with cards. Absolutely absurd. So now we want to get our muscles down. This gives us +1 attack, and it's a resource generator. It'll generate 2 resources. It is a superpower, so we can make it a bit cheaper, but I don't think we need to worry with our hand here. I would like to play Shadowcat. We might hold on to her. We're going to be drawing 2 encounter cards this round because we just decked out really quickly. But Deft Focus we want to play Limitless Stamina, and then we can play Titanium Muscles, and that'll only generate 1 for Shadowcat, so we probably can't play everything here. Wonder if we do pitch 1 for Deft Focus, pitch 1 for Titanium +1 plays Shadowcat, and then we hold on to Limitless for next turn. We want to knock out Avalanche. In theory, we're attacking for 4, so we don't knock it out. But with Shadowcat and Nick, yeah, we can definitely deal with it. So let's do that. So we'll pitch any card to play Deft Focus. This is the X-Men version of the art. It has a small typo on it. It's not a protection card, but this generates 1 resource a turn for a superpower card. So then we'll exhaust that and we'll throw out Moira for Titanium Muscles. So we'd fully set up here before we cycle through our deck, which is what you want to do. And this gives us +1 attack. So technically we're now attacking for 4 because +1 plus Courtyard, we're at +2. Pretty good. Now we can exhaust this to generate 2 physical because we have 2 toughness. And then we'll pitch 1 more to play Shadowcat. It's our unique ally. This art is actually from the cover of Mutant Genesis. I can't tell. Are there other heroes or cards that just have the cover art? It's a great piece of art. And Michal Ivan did a whole bunch of the boxes, core set box, and I think a couple of the other boxes. As much as this art looks very different than other card art. Okay, now we'll hold on to the Limitless because it is just a good card. So we'll do Nick, who will attack for 3, because it's +1 attack. That drops us down to 2. We'll attack for 4, knocking out Avalanche. And then Shadowcat, just for safety, is going to thwart for 2. Protects isn't super relevant. And we'll pass, holding on to the Limitless because that will be free next turn. And we're attacking for 4, so we should be able to knock out Toad, no problem. We'll just pass. This is now where the Titanium Muscles is interesting because we want to preserve our toughness. But even if we lose a toughness, we draw a card, so it's kind of a wash. Last 2 cards. Second is Piotr Studio. This is our alter ego card. It's okay, especially if you're jumping down. Now this will discard until you find a Colossus card. And at this point in the game, most of our cards in our deck, our Colossus cards left over, are our attack events that do more damage because we've set up with almost all our upgrades. Speaking of Steel Fist, that's another one we can get. So that is the interesting thing. We decked out, we get an encounter card. Sometimes you draw an armor up when you don't want an armor up. I think that's the only awkward draw, but more often than not, you'll get a card that does at least 5 damage. So that's kind of nice. We also can block with Nick here. I think we'll see what our hand is. We only have 4 hand size. Nick is going to disappear at the end of the round, but we kind of want to block with our toughness for a bunch of reasons. And we can always use Organic Steel. It would have been better if Organic Steel ends in the deck right before we shuffle it because it loses a cycle. But at least when we jump down, because we're going to have a Stunner Confuse, we can put it right back. All right. 4th card. is establish perimeter. This is our side scheme that gives a toughness. We'll probably get that down. It should be relatively easy to play. And now it's back to Toad. This goes to 2. Toad is attacking for 3 and a card. Either we just tank it with the toughness, draw a card, lose a bit of value off the titanium, but we'll get it back. Or we can just block with Nick. I think we'll just take it to the face. We should look at our hand. Our hand is mostly playable. We have superpowers, so we can reduce the cost. Steel Fist draws a card. Yeah, I think we're fine just taking it. So 3 and a card, we're not going to block. Boost icon. It's immovable. I think this has symmetrical text. So if the villain is blob, get another boost card. Otherwise, that's just 4 damage. We lose a toughness. So we're going to replace it immediately with Organic Steel, discarding Organic Steel. And then we'll draw a card with Iron Will. So we draw into a prof. Cool. Again, Toad's text only matters if he damages us. So we're healthy for now. And we have, of course, still 2 toughness, which is pretty goofy. First card, Adamantium upgrades. Okay, this is huge. This is why I'm happy I added this to the deck, because this will give us a bit of a challenge. So attach an enemy without a copy of this. Otherwise, this card gains Surge. And now Toad is attacking for +2 and gets Piercing. So now we have to get rid of this at all costs because, of course, Piercing eats all their toughness, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a disaster. Oh, that's weird. Okay, can we have 2 of these? Attach an enemy without a copy. Otherwise, this gains Surge. No, we can't have 2 copies. Okay. Advance. That's not good. I think we might be in trouble here. So Toad is scheming for 3 and a card. So 1, 2, 3. We need it to be a low boost. Almost a low boost. I think low enough. This is Groundswell. If the villain is Avalanche, get another boost card. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we go to 6 of 7. So we barely hold on there. So we need to clear as much threat as we can. Okay, it's back to us. We want to get rid of these claws. Funny to think of Toad replacing his tongue with Adamantium, but we do need to get rid of this for obvious reasons. So this requires 1 of each kind of resource. Our physical is Steel Fist, which kind of stinks. We can always use titanium muscles to generate a physical for this. And then our energy will always be the perimeter, which is no big deal. And Piotr Studio is the mental. So mind you, Nick Fury leaves. The question is, are we sending the Steel Fist? I think we are sending the Steel Fist, which means the Steel Fist is played for 2. We draw a card. We play that with Limitless. So I'm going to use titanium muscles to generate 2 resources. Yeah, I think this makes us be able to play our hand better. So this will generate a physical, 2 physicals, 1 mental, 1 energy, and we'll get rid of the claws. That's all we have to do. Hero action, spend the resources. Okay, Shadowcat with ward for 2. I think we've seen both advances, so at least we're comfortable for a while. Then we will do Deft Focus. Oh, we could have done this first. We probably should have done this first because we could have drawn to another card because we're going to be drawing when we remove a toughness. So that was a mistake. Then we'll play Steel Fist. So this does 5 damage to Toad, down to 1 health. Oh, wait, we forgot Retaliate. Yeah, Toad's defeated. Yeah, I totally forgot about the Retaliate. So Toad should have been at 5 health, which means this defeats Toad. So we're not going to discard a card. We could discard a card so that we can just draw a card to play Limitless. That might be okay. This is a bummer, though. Actually, I don't think we do this just yet. Hold on 1 second, because now with the defeat, the order is a bit more important. We might just want to do Limitless Stamina twice so that we can stun the next character. But if that's the case, I don't think we have enough resources to do that because we use the titanium muscles in an awkward way. Yeah, that might not have been great. I just want to check. Save the School. When you get the next villain, they don't activate against you, right? I think that's how the next evolution multi-villains work. So it says after the villain's defeated, if there are X villains in the victory display, the players win the game. Otherwise, deal each player an encounter card and reveal the next villain. So we just reveal the next villain. So what are we meant to do here? So maybe using the muscles was wrong because we're going to lose a resource here. Let's just say we put Toad back at 5. Cool. So the other line that we can do is we can attack for 4. We can Deft Focus to Limitless. Then we can attack for 4. And then we can't play the Steel Fist. So I think we just waste the Stun or Confuse. And then we just have the toughness and we don't jump down. So, okay. Might have been able to do that better, but that's totally okay. So we'll do Deft Focus. We'll pitch Prof and we'll do Steel Fist. So we'll do the base text that does 5 damage. You may discard a toughness status from your hero to stun and confuse that enemy. That enemy will be gone by now from my understanding, so we don't stun and confuse the next one. I am going to get rid of the toughness, I think, just because it draws a card so we can play Limitless Stamina so we can thwart for a fair bit. So I'll get rid of the toughness and then with Iron Will, we'll draw a card. Cool. And then we'll defeat Toad. So Toad is defeated. We don't know who the next villain is. It's Pyro. Pyro does indirect damage, so we have to watch out. Pyro is attacking for 2 because of the courtyard. Toughness is going to come in with 17 health, so a bit tougher. After Pyro attacks you, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Take 1 indirect damage for each printed resource icon discarded this way. Oh, that's actually not dependent on doing damage to us. So that means we'll lose 2 toughness a turn. I think discarding the toughness might have been a mistake, but Toad adds to the victory display. We have to defeat 3 villains to win the game, so we'll have 1 out. Let's see where we can put this. So for 3 villains, that's what we need to win. Once this hits 3, if we get more main schemes out, that's how we lose. That's Pyro. Okay, does Save the School do anything else? Deal each player an encounter card on Save the School, so that's waiting for us. If a minion with the same title is engaged, no, so none of that happens. Okay, so it's back to us. I think Pyro scheming for 2, we actually can consider just jumping down here. I'm realizing in hindsight. We've seen 2 advances, so the only thing that can get Pyro to activate is if you draw one of Pyro's specific cards, which we haven't seen any of those. Everybody has their cards like a movable that says Pyro activates against you. So if we can bring this down to 0, that means it'll be 1, Pyro activates for 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we lose the courtyard. It's slightly risky. The cool thing is when we jump down 2, we can shuffle any copies of armor up into our deck. Unfortunately, we don't have any. So that's a card that we could draw that means that we won't have to worry about it. The other option is we can just stay. We'll get rid of 1 toughness when Pyro attacks, but then the indirect damage that will actually deal with us. So I think we will jump down here. Regardless, we'll thwart for 2, knocking 2 out of here. We'll pitch Steel Fist to play Limitless Stamina. This just readies us because we have at least 14 health. And then I'm going to thwart for 2 more to clear the main scheme. And then we'll just hop down. When we hop down, we can shuffle a card into our deck. That is one of our cards. So I think here we're just going to go for Steel Fist is pretty good. We have 3, so there's only 1 more in the deck, so we can put 1 back. The other option is Organic Steel. That's also not bad either because it is a lot of tough generation, and that's a huge part of our deck. But I'm pretty cool stunning Pyro because Pyro's effect when Pyro attacks is really bad for us. So I think we'll just go for that. So we have 2 of them in the deck we can draw. I think that's it. We'll just pass. We'll ready up. Again, we draw to 6 hand size when we're in Alter Ego, 4 with Villain, and we'll see what Pyro does. There's actually a big chance that jumping down to Alter Ego when there's drawing an extra encounter card is like such a big risk in solo. I always forget about that. Oh, we're going to deck out. Why are we in Alter Ego? And you can just lose games out of nowhere. Luckily, if we do lose the courtyard, which is not super likely, we have another scheme behind it that we have to just protect at all costs. Okay, draw to 6, cut. Here we go. Ready for fight. Okay, that's what we wanted this turn. We have Marrow for 1 damage. We have another Limitless, which is super flexible, free with Death Focus. We have the X-Mansion, so we can start healing Shadowcat before she leaves. That's great. A Taunt, which is a bit worse against Pyro. And then our last card is a Strength. So we should be able to play almost all of this hand, which is really quite nice with our titanium muscles and all that. All right, this goes to 1. Pyro's now going to scheme for 2 in a card. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on Brotherhood Beatdown. So that goes up to 5 of 7. So kind of sketchy here. We have to get lucky that we don't get any of the cards that say Pyro activates. First card, Protect the Students. I think this one has an upside when you clear it. I think you get an ally from your deck. So coming in with 4 threat, also has a Crisis, as much as Shadowcat can't ignore that. It says when defeated, the player who defeated the scheme searches their deck for an ally and adds it to their hand. Okay, so not puts into play, adds it to their hand. So we can always go grab Nick, or we can just grab Polaris or Profex if we need more thwart. Toad. Okay, so we got lucky here. This is just Toad. Very small, 3 health. Attacks for 3 though, because of the +1 attack. And after Toad attacks and damages, you have to discard a card from your hand. So same text as before. And it's back to us. Okay, so this we need to start dealing with. So we have to thwart. I think we're really incentivized here to drop X-Mansion, just because then we can keep Shadowcat around. And if we can jump down every other turn, that means we can keep Shadowcat around forever, which is quite nice. We'll hop up, so we'll get a Toughness. We have no way to remove Toughness unless we do Taunt. And in theory, we can just taunt Pyro straight up. And that means Pyro will do 2 instances of damage to us, and we can put both of them into Tough. When you're taking indirect damage, if I'm not mistaken, as long as you have 14 health, you can put 14 damage into a Toughness and it just removes the Toughness. Like all the indirect that you assign to a single character happens at 1 instance. It's not like 1 indirect, 1 indirect, 1 indirect if you need to take 3 indirect. So, but you discard 2 and then, yeah, it's not 1 by 1. So I think you discard 2, find out the result and then take that. So Toughness can actually take this off perfectly. Okay, so if we hop up, Titanium will have 2 counters. So we can drop Marrow. Marrow can deal with Toad on Marrow's own. So we're going to start here, play Strength for the Mansion. And we'll just exhaust the X-Mansion to heal 1 damage from a mutant or X-Men character. So Shadowcat will go up to 2. Okay, Protect the Students. We can clear. Our Limitless is free. Yeah, I think we're good. We'll just hop up to Hero Mode. Here in Hero Mode, we get our Toughness. We have Steel Skin. So now we can exhaust the Titanium Muscles. And that will generate 2 resources. So we'll just spend those on Marrow. When Marrow enters play, we can do 2 damage to an enemy. So we'll just hit Toad a fair bit. And then I'm just going to use Marrow here to knock out Toad before I forget. So Toad is defeated. Okay, Shadowcat will thwart for 2 off this. Oh, this will add a card to our hand. I think we kind of want to do that before we play Taunt, because if we draw our ally with the Taunt, we lose a bit of card draw. So I think we're going to use Colossus here to thwart for 2, clearing Protect the Students. And again, when this fires, the player who defeated the scheme searches their deck and discard pile for an ally and adds it to their hand. I wonder if we should have gone for Nick and then used Nick off Titanium Muscles. That might have been a better line in hindsight. So our deck has no allies left besides Polaris. Not super useful this turn. So we'll just shuffle that. And I think we're going to go for a discard pile. We have 3 cards in hand. We might just taunt here Pyro. So we're going to draw 4 cards. We're going to end up actually drawing 5 cards because I think we'll lose 2 toughness to this, which kind of sucks because we don't have our organic steel on the table to replace them. But at least our Retaliate will take out the Pyro tough, which is nice. So we don't have to attack and waste that. So let's search our discard pile instead. It's Prof X or Nick. We could block Pyro with Nick this turn because we won't have a lot of toughness. That's probably the play. Okay. So I think we just play Taunt. Pitch 1 for Taunt. So you know how this works. It says the villain attacks you, so Pyro's attacking. So Pyro's attacking for 2 and a card. No boost on assault, so 2 damage. So that goes into our toughness. When we clear our toughness with Iron Will, we draw a card. We also do Retaliate 1, which takes this toughness off. So after this is drawn, then you have to do this force response because the toughness comes off first, if I'm not mistaken. And so now we have to discard 2 cards of the deck. So it has 1 resource icon, 2 resource icons. And so we have to take 2 indirect damage for each printed resource icon this way. We can assign 1 to Marrow. We can assign 1 to Shadowcat that knocks them both out. In theory, if we had played like Nick Fury first, we could have soaked some of that damage. And Nick Fury is really good at soaking indirect damage. Instead, we'll take 2 indirect to ourselves, removing the toughness, which draws a card. All right, we do the rest of the taunt, which just says draw 3 cards. So we draw 1, 2, 3. We really need to consider setting up the anticipated attack. Again, I've not been super positive about it. I might as well get a side scheme into the victory display so we can see what it does. And I do think we just rip through our deck one more time. The only way we can get a toughness on this turn is Polaris, which would be kind of nice. I don't think, yeah, actually superpower training we could get rid of just to get our upgrade, organic steel. I don't want to do taunt again this turn. So we'll play Nick, get some more cards. Nick costs 4, so we'll pitch the cards we don't want to keep. So 1, these armor ups are useless. 2, 3, we won't play another taunt, so that's 4 cards, and we'll just draw 3 off of this. So 1, there's organic steel, steel fist, and the X-Jet. Unfortunately for steel fist, it's not a great play here. So maybe we should have considered keeping some of our toughness because this is not a great draw because we can't go for the stun or confuse. It is just 5 damage, which is something. Okay. Depth Focus plays the stamina. We definitely want to play the organic steel sooner than later because then once we jump up and jump down, we'll be resetting our toughness economy. I don't think we need the X-Jet. I think our resource economy is actually pretty good at this point. So superpower training gets an organic steel. It's worth playing, but I don't think we can do it that well. Here before, we'll just thwart 2. Here we can thwart 2 more. Maybe we do. I think if we're jumping down X-Mansion, Shadowcat will deal with that. Oh, organic steel is also superpowered. That doesn't really change anything. So we will just do Depth Focus for Limitless. I think we will. That leaves us with 4 cards, so we can either just play the X-Jet past. I think we just play organic steel and hold on to the Steel Fist. Assuming that we draw into Polaris, we only draw 4 cards, so it's not that great because we ran out of toughness. If we draw into Polaris, organic steel does something, but we're going to jump down next turn. So which card do we want to keep in our hand when we jump down? Probably the superpower training, I think. So we'll play Limitless. We're ready ourselves. And then here we can either thwart for 3 or attack for 4. We'll just keep doing damage. We'll attack for 4 into the villain down to 13. Then we'll just pitch. Yeah, we'll get rid of the fist. 1, 2 for organic steel. So this is the one that will give us toughness when we lose toughness. Unfortunately, we can't lose toughness we don't have. We'll block with Nick here, so that's hopefully no problem. We might actually take up a couple damage with Pyro, so we can put 1 on Marrow, we can put 1 on ourselves, and hopefully X-Mansion maybe heals us. We lose our Retaliate, but that's not that big of a deal. I think we won't keep the superpower training. I think we should just give up on anticipated attack, and we'll just pass here. We really want to find Polaris. That's the way that we get back into this. So we'll draw 4. Polaris was the next card. Believe in yourself. Bulletproof Protector works well with Polaris as well. Unfortunately, also our Titanium Muscles has run out of gas. We have the Unshakable, which hasn't seemed that great, and a Moira, which, again, all the cards we haven't played. Turns out the ones that we don't like all the time. This goes to 4. Pyro's attacking for 2 and a card. So we actually could defend this if we wanted to. Regardless, Pyro's text fires. It's not attached to damage, which is a bit rough. So we'll just block with Nick Fury. It's 1, 2. Boost on Hack and Slash. It says discard a random card from your hand and take damage equal to the number of printed resource icons on it. Ooh. That's not good. We lost Unshakable, so we take 1. Beans, that would have knocked off a toughness. We're down to 13. We no longer have Retaliate. So that means Pyro's attacking for 2. Perfectly knocks out Nick. And then after we have to do Pyro's text, which discard 2 cards from the top of our deck. 1, 2. So we take 2 indirect damage. At this point, we'll just take it to our face. So we might have to recover at some point. We're down to 11 health. Still a lot of health. That's the weird thing is when you have all this toughness, having 14 health seems kind of useless. Like it's a resource you don't need a lot of the times. So we're still feeling pretty safe, but yeah, we'll heal that hopefully. Groundswell. This grabs Avalanche, right? Avalanche activates. If not, search the deck and discard power for Avalanche and reveal him. So Avalanche comes into play. We've seen him already. I think he has 5 health. Yep. 5 health. And after Avalanche attacks you, exhaust a character you control. Does not care about damaging. So another one we have to watch out for. That might be another card coming up if that's the next villain. Okay, so we are ready. Our hand is strictly unplayable besides Moira, right? Like Polaris we can't play because we lost a resource, so that's not great. That was a nice way to get a little toughness there. Titanium doesn't do anything. Moira might just be played here because we can get her down and not worry about it. So we're gonna have to knock off Avalanche. We don't have a confuse. We need to jump down here, so we might just lose the courtyard. Avalanche just schemes for 1, so it's not that bad. Do we have superpowers? We do have a superpower, but it's a 0-cost superpower, so Death Focus is not doing anything. So we have to jump down here. So if that's the case, we will attack for 4 to Avalanche. Marrow will defeat Avalanche. Marrow's discarded, as is Avalanche. Oh wait, Marrow's attacking for 3. Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't change anything. I don't think we've missed damage to that yet. Then we will hop down. With the alter ego, our deck is really thin here. So what we actually can do, we have 6 cards here. So what we can do with our alter ego is just jam an armor up into there. And that means we're very likely to draw the armor up. And armor up just means that we can ignore the fact that we're worried about being schemed. This is the neat part when you have a really thin deck, because now we're very likely to draw it. We're drawing, 6 of 7 cards. So we have a 1 in 7 chance of whiffing. And hopefully we don't whiff. That would be great. Then we jump up, we get a toughness, and then we have our whole engine back and rolling as much as we haven't recovered. All right, give that a cut. Then we will just play Moira. So finally we can see what Moira does. Our hand is forced. When we jump up from alter ego, we can draw a card. We'll exhaust X-Mansion to heal Shadowcat, and then we'll immediately use Shadowcat to thwart 2 from this. We're going to lose some X-Mansion value when we jump up with armor up, but I think it's okay. Otherwise, we could just risk scheming. We haven't seen any of the Pyro activates cards, and I actually kind of like the courtyard. It's pretty good for us. So we'll pass. Draw 6, hopefully an armor up. Energy, uh-oh. Made a rage, okay. Bulletproof protector, okay. All right, genius, hold on. Anticipated, it's a 50-50. We lost the 50-50? All right, we have no choices to make. This goes up to 3. I can't believe we lost that. That's a 1 in 7. So Pyro's now scheming for 2 in a card. No boost is perfect. This goes up to 5. So we just have to get lucky that this encounter card is not that bad for us. It's hack and slash. I think we're gonna take more damage. When revealed, discard a random card from your hand, take damage equal to the number of printed resources. I'm glad that we added this encounter set, because the piercing, let alone the incidental damage, will interact disfavorably with our toughness. We lose ready for fight, we take 1 damage, down to 10, which means we can fully recover, but we'll have to use X-Mansion on ourselves. I don't think it's that big. The retaliate's not that big of a deal. All right, back to us. Our hand stinks. It's not good. Our last card is an armor up, which is useless because we're going to be jumping up to hero. So in theory, we could just like pass and do nothing with this hand, but this hand's also not very good. So we're going to be drawing through our deck. Now, the big issue is here is we have 2 of these doubles and none of our cards are really playable. I don't think we're going to heal up, so we're going to jump up. With Bulletproof Protector and Moira, we are going to shuffle our deck, so we'll hopefully draw into something a bit better, and we'll draw 2 cards once we play the Bulletproof. Ideally, we can also draw another card when we play Made of Rage. So we'll actually draw 3 cards here and hopefully find something. We'll use X-Mansion. Heals 1 from Shadowcat, so she can keep thwarting. Then we'll flip up to hero mode. And we get our toughness. That's great. Now we can fire Moira here. Moira says that after a mutant jumps into alter ego, we can draw a card. We know it's an armor up, and then we deck out, draw an encounter card, and shuffle. We're back to 2 toughness territory. So we had a bit of a scary situation there, but we'll be okay. And now we have a lot of damage. Most of our deck is damage cards, I think, and the X-Jet. And then those anticipated attacks that are great, but that's okay. Now we'll just drop a Bulletproof Protector. So this, we remove a toughness, which means we draw a card. It's a ready for fight that's flexible, and then we can give ourselves a toughness. Okay, still nothing for the Death Focus. We have 2 physicals from Titanium Muscles, so I'm not too stressed about playing this ready for a fight. So I think we'll just do here a basic attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll play Made of Rage. So Made of Rage gives our attack plus 6 damage and overkill. So we'll discard the toughness status card for that effect. So we draw a card with Iron Will. We draw a Taunt, which probably not this turn. I think Pyro's a bit harder to taunt. So we're doing 10 damage, dropping Pyro down to 3. Shadowcat, just going to thwart for 2. Next turn, we're ready to jump down, but this hand is like really ugly. We can play very little of it. I guess we could just taunt and say, oh, hold on. Actually, before we do anything else, this is really important that we don't forget this trigger. When we lost the toughness for that, we'll use Organic Steel to give us another toughness, which means if we don't like our hand, and I'll be honest, I don't like our hand, I think we just play taunt here. We draw 5 cards from this taunt. So we'll taunt. We'll do anticipated attack into taunt. Actually, no, we'll use the Titanium Muscles because we're going to be losing a bunch of toughness. Wait, do we want to go into the next round with no toughness? Because again, Pyro does 2 instances of damage, and that's a bit scary because 1 takes the toughness off. We could in theory block and hope it's a 0 boost. It's not a consistent plan. And then we'll have to take 2 indirect, which will take off the next toughness. So if we play the taunt, we lose all our toughness. So unless we again draw into Polaris, we're going to go into the next round with no toughness, which I don't know if that's great. So I think we just like waste so much of this hand. If we drew a Nick, a Prof X, our big Steel Fist, we'd be in a good spot. But unfortunately, it's just hard to taunt Pyro. I think we do it. I think we still do it. There's no way that I'm going to live down discarding this whole hand. Like we'll play the ready for a fight, but I think we just keep going because we're going to jump down next round. We can block with Shadowcat in a panic. We can just take some damage because we no longer care about Dauntless. Yeah, we'll just do it. I don't care. We'll use titanium muscles to generate 2 physical to play the taunt. All right, come hit me. So Pyro's attacking for 2 and a card. 2 boost icons on Master Plan, so we take 4 damage. So we remove this toughness. So hopefully we draw something good with Iron Will. We drew another taunt. The rest of the Pyro's text will now fire, so we discard 2 cards from the top of our deck. Yeah, just checked. Organic Steel does exhaust. So we'll discard a Limitless, would have been a good draw, and an Established Perimeter, an okay draw, and we have to take 2 indirect damage. Fortunately, we can't assign all that to Shadowcat, so we'll lose our second toughness, and we'll draw another card. Okay, now Taunt fires, and we draw 3 more cards. 1, okay, 2, good, 3, Steel Fist, perfect, well, sort of. So we can at least defeat Pyro here, which will put us in a weird situation because we'll get 2 encounter cards, because when you defeat the villain, you get another encounter card. Just checking, didn't put any cards in the discard pile, that's good, good check. Okay, got a lot of options, got no toughness, we are exhausted. We can knock out for sure by just playing Steel Fist, which I think happens no matter what. So yeah, sorry, it's hard to show all the cards we have in hand for hopefully obvious reasons. We have too many cards. We still didn't get a side scheme. I honestly think if we got a side scheme, actually anticipated attack would have been really good. Like this is actually like, okay. So admittedly, this is the problem we've caused ourselves, but anticipated attack with this hand is actually pretty decent because we can play it. We have too many cards and we can just keep taunting because the next villain will attack us. We'll anticipate attack. We'll get a toughness. We end up drawing like 4 cards again. So yeah, we probably should have worked on a side scheme by now. That's kind of on us. We can't jump down because we jumped up. So I'll just start putting cards on the table. We'll do a strength for another organic steel. We had one of these sooner, we would have a toughness now, but again, that's fine. This only gives you a toughness when you discard a toughness. So you need a toughness in the first spot. So hopefully we'll jump down next round. We will pitch the armor up for the ready for fight. So we know we can get schemed on. So that's really good. So we can jump down, no stress next turn. We can play Piotr Studio to get it out of our hand. So I think here we'll just spend a double just to play Steel Fist, just to do 5 damage. Deal 5 damage to an enemy. We'll knock out Pyro. Pyro has been defeated. And so Pyro goes to the stack of defeated villains, revealing Avalanche. Okay, I think we might have got the worst ones. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Avalanche does not care if Avalanche damages you. It says after Avalanche attacks you, exhaust an ally you control. So we're going to need another ally that just kind of we keep in play to just keep getting exhausted. Attacks for 5? That's bad. Save the school says when we defeat the villain, get an encounter card, and then we have to get a toughness, and we're back up to 18 health. We defeat Avalanche, we do win the game. I think we're blocking with Shadowcat here, unfortunately, just because then we don't have to exhaust her. She's not there. Perfect. All right, I am a bit scared. 5 attack is a lot of attack, so that's fine. Anticipated attack would have been sick here. We can't safely taunt because we'd have to block it, and we're exhausted. I think we have still 2 limitless staminas left in our deck. And we have a whole bunch of extra attacks, but most of our attacks require us to have a toughness. So we're going to have to work on that. So then I think we're just going to play Taunt for Piotr Studio. We're running out of a backboard here. So I'll just slide these over. I'll just put it down here. We'll put this up here. Again, when we're alter ego, we can discard till we find a card. Most of our cards do damage at this point. And then I'm not going to keep this. We only have 4 hand size, so we want to find deeper. We want to find Polaris. We'll just discard these cards and then we'll pass. Draw up to 4. Ah, made a rage. That's good, but we need toughness. Armor up so we can jump down already we can, and we have a ready for a fight. So not a functional hand here, and we can't draw any more cards. So a bit awkward for sure. This goes to 4. Avalanche is attacking for 5 and a card. Shadowcat will just get in the way here. Because regardless, after this, we'll have to exhaust someone and exhaust an ally. And so if we have no allies, I guess we beat some of that value. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on Death Strike. That would have been a problem. So Shadowcat is defeated. And exhaust an ally, and we reveal 3 cards. I think we've seen most of the groundswell, so we don't have any of the cards that say Avalanche activates. Homo Superior. I think this just surges, right? Attached to a minion, otherwise surge. Okay. Pyromaniac. So we have to go grab Pyro. So it says Pyro activates, otherwise go find Pyro. Pyro has 4 health. We saw him very early on. Yeah, 4 health. Attacks for technically 1, and then does that extra indirect damage. Next up, Popping Mad. Uh-oh, we have the whole army here. So Toad activates, otherwise go get Toad. Toad has 3 health. Oh boy. I think we might lose the courtier this turn. When we hop up, we'll at least be able to get 3 toughness. So there's actually a chance that we can kind of just stand and toe-to-toe every single one of these minions. Because when we jump up, we'll get 1, 2, 3 toughness. Oh, all our cards are ready. Give me 1 second. Okay. That's Toad. Again, when Toad attacks and damages, discard a card from your hand. Finally, Pyromaniac. Oh, actually, we're being attacked here. Awkward. So Pyro activates against you. Let's see what Pyro's up to. Pyro attacks for 1 because everybody has +1 attack. I don't think we're going to exhaust. So Pyro attacks for 1. We could exhaust, but we'll just take 1 damage. So yep, that's just 1 damage. Down to 9. And then after Pyro, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. I hope we don't discard a Limitless Staminas. Superpower? Limitless. Bummer. Take 1 indirect for each resource icon. So we take 2. We have to take that to our face. Okay, so there's 3 minions. That seems bad. But if we jump down, we'll be able to deal with a whole bunch of them. Because when we hop up, we get 1 toughness, and then we get a 2nd toughness from steel, a 3rd toughness from this steel. So we can actually block every single attack. We attack for 4 though, so we can just knock out Pyro here. We've seen both ground swells and both advances, if I'm not mistaken. So this threat is not going to go up anywhere. So we don't have to worry about that. What I'm stressed about is I don't think we've seen any of the other expert cards besides Master Plan. So Exhaustion and the one that surges you, they still exist if I'm not mistaken. So that might be a bit of a problem. So we can hop down. We can't Made of Rage because we don't have the requisite toughness, but we're 18 damage and a toughness away from closing the game out. So that's fine. I think that's fine. So I'll use Armor Up to play another copy of Ready for Fight just to get that out of the deck. We can use this if we need to. So if anyone tries to scheme on us, no, not going to happen. I'm going to attack for 4 into Pyro just because Pyro's text is a bit harder to deal with because it basically beats 2 toughnesses and we don't want that to happen. We will just jump down. When we jump down, we can use our alter ego ability to shuffle something into our deck. My guess is we just want to get a nice old stun and confuse. We have 2 steel fists still in the deck though. So actually we have a lot. We'll have at least 1 toughness. So maybe we don't do steel fist. Maybe we do, it's either bulletproof for more toughness economy, or we can add the overkill for the Made of Rage, which might be better because we want to knock out Toad. So we can overkill through Toad. So I'll shuffle that into our deck. We can discard cards from Piotr until we find it, but most of our hero cards, we can't play them because they don't do much in alter ego. So we'll leave that. Mind you, Moira should be ready. Actually, no, we can just keep this Made of Rage. So we probably don't have to shuffle that one back in. Yeah, we don't have to shuffle that one back in because we have one in our hand. We can just hold on to it. So hold on, I'll shuffle something else in. So I'll take out a Made of Rage and I'll shuffle in instead. I think we'll just shuffle the flexibility of the Bulletproof Protector because we're going to have 1 toughness, 2 toughness, 3 toughness. We'll lose 2 of them. So this is the card that can give us +1 toughness and it just cycles, which is fine. It helps with our economy. Okay. Finally, this is our discard pile. We'll just use X-Mansion to heal ourselves 1. So we go up to 8 and we'll pass. We'll hold on to Made of Rage and we'll throw out Anticipated Attack. All right. It's us. 1, 2, Limitless Stamina. Love it. 3, Bulletproof. Might have shuffled that back in. 4, Prof X. 5, Polaris. 6, Nick Fury. Great. We drew all our allies. A bit awkward, but that's okay. We are ready. And that's going to be it. So this goes to 5. Avalanche is going to scheme for 2 in a card, which will advance for sure. And this is where we can kick into Ready for a Fight. So Ready for a Fight says, when an enemy would scheme, discard this, change the hero form, the enemy attacks you instead. So we will flip up. When we flip up, of course, we have a bunch of triggers here. We can do our toughness off Colossus when we do our steel skin. And then we can also do Moira. Moira says after a mutant alter ego changes to hero form, we can draw a card. So we draw the X-Jet. I think that's all we have. Yep. So Avalanche is now attacking for 5 in a card. And of course, after Avalanche attacks you, exhaust an ally, which that's not going to be a problem. So attacking for 5 in a card, 6 on Caught Off Guard. So we're going to lose this toughness, which when we lose this toughness, we'll get draw with Iron Will. And then we'll fire both organic steels here as we can. After a tough status card is discarded from you, exhaust this and can remove a steel counter to give a tough status. So we'll remove 1, and then we end up with 2 tough status cards. Okay, we don't do Retaliate because we're not at full health. And now here, Toad is going to attack us. Toad attacks for 3 with the boosted attack, and after Toad attacks and damages a character you control, discard a random card. So we'll just take 3, which removes this toughness, which means we draw another card. So a lot of damage in hand. Encounter card. Brotherhood Beatdown. Now this does different effects based on what minions and villains are in play. For each of the following enemies in play, Avalanche, exhaust your identity. Boo earns. Toad, discard a random card from your hand. Okay, well, we have a lot of options. You discard Unshakable. Okay, that's fine. I thought this would stun us. It doesn't. That would be a blob card. And now it's back to us, and we have too many cards in hand to know what to do with. So we want to get another toughness. The problem is we only have 1 toughness right now. With 1 toughness, that's limited. So we might want to play Polaris. If we play Polaris, we get a toughness back, which means functionally Polaris only costs 2 because the toughness we can use on Iron Will, and that's kind of nice. We want to use 1 toughness to defeat Toad with Overkill, but that means we should deal with the toughness on Avalanche first. So maybe Polaris will take the toughness off. This will hit 6. We've seen both ground swells, so I don't think Avalanche can activate against us. I think there's 2 for each of the villains. Limitless can ready us, which is great, because then Limitless with Made of Rage can knock out Toad. So I think we start by just playing Polaris. So Polaris, oh wait, we Bulletproof first. Of course, I forgot we had one of these. Okay, so our economy is actually a lot better. So we play Bulletproof Protector. So we discard Toughness, which means Iron Will draws a card, and then we'll add 2 toughnesses. We could ready ourselves. I don't think we need to. So we'll play this, and Iron Will draws a card, and we have another Steel Fist. That's perfect. Okay, we'll just use Depth Focus here to play Limitless Stamina. Again, this doesn't care about your actual current health. It just says if you have at least printed hit points, and we do, so we're ready. Okay, here. Do we play Nick? Polaris is kind of useless. We want to do it in the wrong order. So I think we actually do play Nick here. Or we could do Prof. Prof could ready us as well. So maybe that's good. Oh, maybe we did the order wrong. Hold on, I got to think about this for a second. So we have 2 toughness and titanium muscles now generates 2. So we want to use that on something smart. It could just be Nick. So we spend 2 cards and Nick and draw 3 cards. So it's basically neutral. I think that's a reasonable start. Yeah, that seems okay. Then we can use Nick to take the toughness off. We can attack into Toad, and then we can attack into Steel Fist. We'll end up with no toughness, but Avalanche will be stunned and confused, which is fine. Yeah, I think we'll do that. So we'll use 2 from Titanium to play Nick. We'll pitch X-Jet. We'll pitch the second Steel Fist. So when Nick comes into play, we can draw 3 cards. We can also do any of the other options, but draw 3 cards seems just fine here. Wait, we deck out. Hold on, actually, we perfectly deck out, which means we can consider getting these cards back into the bin first. I think it's difficult to make it make sense here, though, because I think we need Nick to knock off the toughness. Yeah, so I think we'll just draw 3. Yeah, we need the 3 cards, so we'll draw 3. So we draw into a Bulletproof Protector, which we can play that again, which is nice because we'll have a toughness at one point. We'll be on 1 toughness at one point, so this will cycle. We have a Taunt, which is super playable. We have a Marrow, so we deck out. I wonder if we can actually win on this turn. We have a lot of damage, particularly if Taunt draws into a copy of another Limitless, because every Limitless is 4 damage. Yeah, I think we can win. I just need to do this perfectly, okay? Okay, so here we can just play Taunt. That'll draw us 4 cards. It'll have to make us exhaust Nick, so we have to use Nick first, because that's Avalanche's text. So if we use Nick first and then Taunt, we draw 4 cards, which is really quite good. So we're going to go through most of our deck. What I have to watch out is that we need toughnesses for certain effects. Bulletproof will give us a toughness. Made of Rage will cost us a toughness. Steel Fist will cost us a toughness. So at least that's perfect. So I'll use Nick first to attack for 2 just to take this toughness off. Then we'll go ahead, we'll throw out Prof X, play Taunt. Taunt says the villain attacks you, so Avalanche is attacking for 5 and a card. We won't block. We have toughness. Brotherhood, 3 boost icons, so 8 damage, just trades for toughness. We have a bunch of triggers here. Firstly, we'll draw with Iron Will. Okay, then we have to exhaust an ally, but all our allies are exhausted, and then we'll draw 3 more cards with Taunt. Drew into our side schemes. We should have got rid of those. Organic Steel, Steel Fist, and Anticipated Attack. Okay, great. Okay, we already used our muscles here. So I think we just play Bulletproof Protector. So we'll discard a toughness so that we draw a card with Iron Will. We draw a Made of Rage, which we can play both of them on the same attack. And then we'll give ourselves 2 toughness. So we end up on 2. So that actually is more damage. I think we just have lethal here because we attack for 1, 2, 3, 4. Made of Rage does 6 damage. Made of Rage does 6 more damage. I don't think I've ever played 2 on a single attack. You can do that, right? When you make a basic attack, discard a tough status card, you get +6. So this is 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So yeah, we definitely have lethal this turn. That's so goofy because we're going to keep drawing cards. So we're going to do a basic attack for 4. We could just attack Toad on the way in. I don't think we have to. They don't have guard or anything. So we'll do 2 Made of Rages. So when you make a basic attack, discard a tough, you get +6 and overkill. So we're attacking for 4, 10, 16. We discard 2 toughnesses here. So we draw 2 cards. So we draw 1, we draw 2. Man, more taunts. Again, that's going to do 16 damage. Avalanche is on 2. We still have this as our hand. This is straight nonsense. In theory, we should have, hold on, we should have done this first. It's a better order. We could play Organic Steel first. Actually, we drew 2 cards, so I guess we got more information. But we could have played Organic Steel first, which means we would have got a toughness back when we discard a toughness. So we'd still have 1 toughness, which actually doesn't really matter. At this point, we can just, like, anybody defeats Avalanche. So we can play Marrow for 2. We'll just pay 2 for Marrow. I think we can just clear the board here. So Marrow comes in with 2 health. When enters play, deal 2 damage. We'll just deal 2 damage. Marrow will attack Toad. Deal with that. And then, of course, we still have a bunch of cards here. So we'll just play Steel Fist, pitching 2. And this just does 5 damage. So we'll knock out Avalanche. Oh, wow. It's wild. It's so explosive. Taunt to draw 4 is just absurd. Colossus is so fun. The fact that you can like really toe-to-toe and not care about the attacks. We did end up taking a bit of damage. The indirect damage attacks off Pyro, those are going to be a bit rough for sure. That's the one villain I don't think we can taunt. But this knocks out Avalanche, so we get to 3 villains. And then, having defeated 3 villains, we do win the game. Just wild. Okay, I want to be clear, the anticipated attack probably makes some sense. It is a nice way to deal with the attacks, because when we run out of toughnesses, we have a problem. That means we have to watch out for our Organic Steel economy. We could have played an Organic Steel this turn, so we end up with at least 1 toughness. But you do have to watch the economy, and maybe anticipated attack makes sense. Again, we have extra resources. You can just play a Hard Knocks. It does also work. It's 4 damage to get a toughness, defeating minions, and that's quite nice, as much as we have some cheap overkill attacks. but just Colossus is so much fun. The change of adding Ready for a Fight and adding Taunt, which were not around when I originally played Colossus, it is just a world of difference. You can get away with so much. If you want to play the deck, the description is below. Feel free to play the anticipated attacks or not, but it is a Marvel CDB link on YouTube. You just have to hit the see more button. And otherwise, thanks so much for watching. If you appreciate content like this, if you just want to take a second to leave a like on the video, drop a comment. All that sort of stuff really just helps the channel get spread in the algorithm, which helps me out a fair bit. It's super appreciated. And with that, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Ciao.